tissue, but you have other things that we need for, I don't know, making the muscle contract, giving blood supply to it, and protecting it. So we have a connective tissue component as well. These coverings, talk about fascia and things like that, and also nerve and blood supply to it. So we have nerve tissue going there, and another connective tissue, right? So blood for that one. Nothing too exciting there, so I'll let you know what you have to highlight. Alrighty, a few things here. And how do I attach a muscle to a bone? What do I have to use?
A tendon.
A tendon. Maybe you like to things know that you attach muscles to bones with a tendon. Okay, so here can be my little bone. There's also some crazy other bone over here maybe. Who knows, whatever. And then I have to attach my muscle from here to here. Just a little bit. Here's my muscle cell. Okay, muscle belly here. And so, right, so I attach my muscle to my bone with a tendon. No. Up in lab, we're going to talk about origins and insertion. So with this muscle, we're going to see that right here where that muscle attaches to this bone is known as its origin. And where it ends over here is known as the insertion. So this also is your third exam up in lab, your third practical. We learned the origins and insertions, the actions, what's the muscle do, okay, the action, and then the innervation. So you have to name the nerve, sort of thing, that controls the muscle over here. So it's known as the innervation. Yeah, so you can do that with like, I don't know, 2 weeks, right, from today, sort of thing. You have like a whole bunch of those somewhere. Now those little origins and insertions, those are things like little bumps and roughened areas, like tubercles and tuberosities and trocancers, all that stuff we learned up there. So you have to like use that stuff again for your next practical. So don't think you just like dump all that bone stuff out. You need it for this next little bit over here too. How exciting, huh? Good. So, all right, so anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to take our big chunk of muscle that's attached to your bone with a tendon. You can get it here, right? And we're going to start to break that muscle down into smaller and smaller units. And we're going to find that my big muscle is actually made up of smaller things known as fascicles. And fascicles are made up of smaller things known as muscle cells or muscle fibers. And those are made up of smaller things known as myofilaments. We're going to sort of work our way all the way down from big to small. So sometimes it gets a little confusing because the words sound similar or whatever, and we'll just, take it nice and slow because you guys have everything you need. Yeah, so we're like, do all the steps. Okay, so anyways, we mentioned fascia. You guys heard anything about fascia, like myofascial release, massage therapy, trigger point therapy, things like that? Maybe? Ever have a massage? Okay. All right, so we're going to actually break up the fascia sometime, right? The surrounding tissue around the muscle itself. Everything to relax, to release, whatever. So we'll talk about fascia and how we can use it to group muscle with similar functions together or separate it from the skin and things like that. So we'll like do all those parts and pieces. Coming up like real soon. Yes, another picture. Who cares? Hey, baby seal. You guys like baby seals? I like baby seals.
I'm eating one right now.
Are good to eat. They make great coats from their skin.
Yeah,
their fur.
They can go fast.
If you like, beat them in the head with clubs, don't they? Like little clubby. Break little skulls. Yes, we're break little seals. Okay, anyways, what did we see? Okay, here we go. A little bit on fascia. Now, we said fascia was that covering that goes around the muscle for us. And we actually have two types. We have superficial and deep. So you probably might be thinking, okay, well, superficial fascia sounds like it's towards the surface, and really that's what it does. Just sort of like highlight here that superficial fascia separates the muscle from your skin. So when your muscle contracts, it doesn't like really knot up or make your skin do like crazy stuff, right? Actually, move underneath your skin without making it crunch up or whatever. So that's the function of your superficial fascia, is to separate the muscle from the skin. Okay, so it separates the muscle from the skin. All you want to know. Deep fascia is deeper, and the function of that one is that it'll hold muscle with similar functions together. So it's like a band, I guess you could say, right? So I have my biceps brachii muscle over here, and I have, I don't tibialis over there. I can like band that together with this deeper fascia, something like that. So I can make those muscles work harder, like stronger. I can root them together. So that deep fascia helps me out with that. So holds muscle with similar functions together. That's all you want to know for that one too. It's not so bad yet, right? It gets way worse, so just move on.
Good enough.
Yeah. You think it's like bad? Yeah. Okay. So remember the names of those coverings around the bone. Here's my bone. I had an outer layer called the periosteum. Then I had on the inside was my endosteum, sort of thing. Okay, so around my muscle, I have the same dig. So here's a muscle. On the outside of my muscle, I have a layer, which you can't see yet, so I'm going to put it up there for you. And so that's like a big biceps muscle, let's say. So your big Popeye muscle right here. It's made up of a smaller unit called a fascicle. So here are my little fascicles. I'm going to draw those in here next. These are like smaller little like subunits, I guess you could say. Here. Okay, so all these smaller subunits. So this is called a fascicle. See there? And what are my fascicles made up of? Even smaller things. They're made up of smaller things known as muscle cells that are out there. And the fancy name for a muscle cell is a muscle fiber. That's probably like the biggest thing that people get confused on or aren't sure about. So it's the same thing. A muscle cell is a muscle fiber. Like maybe highlight that or do something in your notes so you know they're exactly the same thing. And you might remember from lab too, we said a muscle cell was the largest cell in the human body. They could be like what? Like this big, right? Like 12, 13, 14 inches in length. So they typically run the entire length of the muscle. So they're guys, you know, ginormous. Ginormous is the word? Mm-hmm. Ginormous. Okay. So anyways, so I have a covering on the outside of my muscle. I also have one that covers the fascicles and another one that covers the individual muscle cells. So I actually have 3 layers of this connective tissue that holds it all together. So I have like the yellow, the red, and the blue. So here are the names for all those things coming up here. Molecular what's for you? Okay, so epimysium. So epi means on top like epidermis, right? And the word myo or mysium is muscle. So epimysium goes around the entire muscle. Peri goes around the, it says what? Surrounds muscle bundles. That's a fascicle. So maybe like put that in there somewhere too, that surrounds muscle bundles, or it's a fascicle. We call that the perimysium. It's like in the middle. Here it is like middle. And then around an individual muscle fiber, same thing as a muscle cell, we call it the endomysium. So endo means like within, it's like the smallest. So I have epi on the outside, I have endo on the inside, and in between the two is the peri. So you'll definitely have a couple questions about this. If I ask them, I don't know, what's the covering around an individual muscle cell? You have to go with endomysium. If I ask what's the covering around the entire muscle, epi, and around fascicle, peri. So, all right, so if you take all 3 of those layers from the muscle, wind them all together, and I form a tendon. So a tendon is created by all those connective tissue layerings in the entire muscle. So it's a pretty strong structure on there. So strong, actually, that you can contract that tendon, that muscle. Here's something crazy for you, too. Do you think that, so you guys like know what bone this is? What do you guys think? You mean the bone? Tibia. It's your tibia. So the right tibia or left tibia?
Right.
Left.
Yeah, it's the right tibia. Yeah, it's your medial malleolus.
Oh, I was looking at that picture.
What's the name of the bump on the front of your tibia?
Tibia tuberosity.
Tibial tuberosity, right? So your little bump right here, tuberosity. Yeah, that, holy cow. That's like a malformed femur. Holy cow, it's like no better. But yeah. Here's your tibia. Holy cow, we have some issues. All right, so anyways, so you have a muscle that goes on your leg called your quadriceps muscle, right? That quadriceps muscle comes across and actually it inserts onto your little tibial tuberosity, just like that. So Right in the front is the quadriceps muscle, comes over the little tendon, crosses the knee joint on here. That muscle can contract so hard and pull on the tendon with so much force, you can start to rip off a little piece of your tibial tuberosity. How
Does
crazy
it
is
remain?
that? Yeah, that's actually pretty common in teenage boys, like, I don't know, 13, 14, 15, in that range, whatever, through there. They actually call that, it has a crazy name to it, it's called Auschwitz-Schlaber's disease. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, they call it, they say it's an avulsion fracture. You have to like know that, but anyways. AVU, avulsion. And FX stands for fracture, avulsion fracture. So an avulsion fracture is just that. You can actually contract the muscle and rip a piece of bone from the bone itself. You usually get like knee pain, leg pain, that middle teenagery sort of thing, boys. So active, running, jumping, whatever. You actually start to tear the bone off the bone. So that's the thing that happens. So those tendons are like really, 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 really strong too. So good stuff in that one. So you identify this tendon.
Achilles.
Your Achilles tendon, right? So it goes to the back of the foot. That bone is your
Campanile.
calcaneus.
Calcaneus.
Okay.
That's how you spell it.
Callus.
Callus.
Hallis. Good job. You guys are doing great. This bone.
Cuboid.
Navicular.
Navicular. It's on the big toe side. That's the navicular. Yeah. Cuboid's on the other side. This one then.
Cuneiform.
Cuneiform. Which one?
Three.
Medial.
Medial. Medial cuneiform. Big toe side. Then your metatarsal, proximal phalanx, distal phalanx. You guys are doing great. Alright, so that goes to the back. So again, a very strong tendon. What happens if you rupture that tendon or get snapped? Okay.
You won't break, you won't need to walk.
Yeah, you can't walk. You fall straight to the ground, something, right? So that actually holds up the entire weight of the body. So if you snap your Achilles tendon, that's the reason going to happen. It goes straight down. So anyways, so you're going to total all three layers, and all three of those layers, my epi, endo, peri spring, wrap together, and they form these really strong tendons.